I have to say this is a first for me. I've had half bodies in my house before, but usually they kind of rank a little bit and there's blood coming out of them. But today I am lucky enough to have one of the sample production pieces of Infinity Studios' Heath Ledger. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this today because they call it a bust. I don't think this is a bust. This is half of a body, but half of a body doesn't sound good in marketing, I guess. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. My name is Mr. X, this is the Extreme channel, and we're going to start off the video with giving a huge shout out to Comic Concepts. That's where the sample production piece of Heath Ledger's Joker from Dark Knight came. Comic Concepts sells all types of statues and busts. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them later. But big thank you to the team over there for letting me have this on the table before I have to ship it back. So we're looking at a half of a body of none other than the Joker as portrayed by Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Now this is made by Infinity Studios, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge fan of Infinity Studios. I've owned a number of their statues in the past, and I don't consider this a statue, I consider this a bust. We'll talk more about that. I have had their Wonder Woman bust on order for over 4 years now. However, they are a newer company, so I do cut them a little bit of slack. And now that he's here in the collection, I can say they do make some awesome pieces, at least in the bust form. So let's talk about that. I've owned a lot of life-size busts. That's traditionally where you see the portrait and maybe part of the upper body. I even own one of Heath Ledger. You can actually check it out right here. It's actually made by a competitor of Infinity Studios, Queen Studios. Infinity Studios came out and they are making half bodies. But like I said, you can't market it like that because that sounds really stupid. And I gotta tell you, it does add a ton to the statue, but it's still not for me. This is just too much, in my opinion, at least for my collection, but I could definitely see how this would be an amazing centerpiece in a lot of your collections. And if you want one, Comic Concepts still has them. We'll talk more about that later. But I'm a huge fan of the Joker, both in the comics and as he's represented in the different DC universes. I think Jack Nicholson did an amazing job. I loved Joaquin Phoenix. I think Heath Ledger is probably still the best, and I'm not just saying that because of his early death. He really played an amazing Joker. One of my favorite scenes is actually when he's first really introduced. Not at the beginning of the movie, which is also awesome, but when he goes in to speak to the mob bosses. It just shows how sadistic and badass and crazy he is. And what's great about this bust is it kind of represents all the different amazing scenes within that movie. It's not taken from a specific time, but it combines a lot of those great moments of Heath Ledger, both within the bust itself and then also the base. So let's talk about that, and I think that's one thing this has a huge advantage over the Queen Studios bust that I currently own. So let's talk about that concept and how cool it is. Alright, so what they do here is first they have a museum-style sub-base at the bottom, which I like because this is kind of like a museum piece because no one's going to believe it's a real body. And then they have tons of Easter eggs here in the actual base. They have a Dark Knight emblem, they have some of the Joker's sayings all over on the front and the back, and a bat symbol that's almost blown up. I mean, he loved dynamite, he liked to blow shit up, that was his thing. And then his body truly starts like probably right around where his belly button is. Some people have freaky places for their belly button, but I'm talking like a normal human. And he's in his outfit, his traditional outfit we saw the whole time, which was almost like really nice material, but it looked old and dingy at the same time. I liked how they pulled that off. One of my favorite lines was, "My suit wasn't cheap, you should know, you paid for it." But as you move up his right arm, he has a full right arm, which is one of the new things they're doing in the bust nowadays, and it's holding up the Joker card, which is such a trademark part of Joker. The other hand is around the back where he can actually hold a knife, he can hold the mask that we saw in the beginning of the movie, or just have it displayed back there for fun. And as you move up, you see his portrait. Now, what's interesting to me is I love this portrait. I think it's absolutely fantastic. We're going to talk more about likeness later. But I don't think it goes with the rest of the bust. Him holding up that card doesn't go with that expression, in my opinion. It doesn't take away from how great it is, but it just doesn't seem right with me. I think other people will absolutely love it, though. So because of that, I think the concept is a 4 out of 5. It's the expression that knocks it down a notch. Otherwise, I think it would be perfect. Now, design, there's a lot of cool things they did. And then there's also a few things that I'm not sure about. And a few things I'm not sure of, but I understand why they did it. So first of all, the base is one piece. His entire body, including the arms, is a separate piece other than his hands. Now, one would ask, why do they have the hand all the way around the back? I think that's for displayability purposes because this piece is huge.
That's what she said.
So the widest part, kind of his elbow to his elbow, is about 23 inches or so. For exact dimensions, go to Comic Concept's website. He's a little under 31 inches. And then the widest part of the base, at least, is about 17 inches. Now you can choose a few different ways to display it. So they have a knife over here. His knife he always loved to use. And like I said, you could actually insert it in his hand back here, but you would never see it unless it's a centerpiece. You can put the mask on the back like I had when it was spinning around, or just put it up front anywhere you want. Technically, he probably could wear it. I was just afraid to do that because this is a really expensive statue and it's not mine. And the other thing about this is his hair. So it is real hair rooted into silicone. Now, with that being said, I'm not a hairstylist, as you can see. So it's probably not 100% accurate to the movie, although it was all over the place in the movie, but you can style it however you want. Now, the other thing I want to address is people are probably looking at this, and whenever I do a review of a life-size bust, they always state this is way bigger than life-size. It's not. The camera is about 6 feet away from me, and he's about a foot and a half closer to the camera. So he will appear about 20% bigger than me, but we are about the same size. Now, I didn't talk about packaging or anything like that because this is a sample production piece. I don't know if the packaging will be different for the actual production pieces. That's why we didn't talk about it. But overall, I think design's slick. It's smart. I would have liked something else up front other than the card, even though the card is cool. But I think design is also a 4 out of 5 on this piece. Paint and sculpt. This is where we talk about likeness. We're going to look at the clothes, kind of combine that into there. I am really impressed, and this is what's made me a fan of Infinity Studios. All right, so as I stated, we're going to kind of categorize the likeness within the sculpt. Clothes will also kind of fall into the paint and sculpt. But realistically, this looks phenomenal. So one thing we didn't talk about is underneath his shirt, it's essentially a mannequin in Caucasian form. And I'm using the word Caucasian not to be politically correct because I don't really give a fuck about that. But it's not white. That is white. So I don't really know what color you classify Caucasian as. Peach? I don't know. But let's start at the base. The exterior museum style base has a nice shine to it, nice gloss. I do like the rocks within the base. I think they look really nice. There's good texture to them. There's some brown overlay to really give you that destruction feel. Almost some small pebbles. Then the front where the bat symbol is kind of carved out, I think looks great. It's just hollow in there. But you see some of the post-tension cables with a lot of rust coming out. Fabulous addition. And the Sirius and Haha here is actually painted, but it looks like it's carved in. So I think that's done really, really well. Dark Knight emblem, same comments as the base. I like that it doesn't say his name as we talked about. The knife itself is plastic, but it does a nice job appearing decently real for what you can get. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do a real knife. And it does have that why so serious Joker. So I like the base a lot. I think it adds quite a bit to it. The mask looks phenomenal. Looks really good. You know, a lot of the prop replica design masks are quite a bit, couple $100. So it's like kind of like you get that with this. This is pretty nice. Then look at the jacket. This suede purple material looks phenomenal. I mean, it's actually a real nice jacket. I'm tempted to take it off, but it's kind of hard to get it off and wear it. Then he has the traditional layering with the suit coat, vest, tie. Fix that right there. But yeah, the threads are really, really nice. And then they even have it kind of tattered at the bottom, which I assume is pretty screen accurate. You don't get a shot of that too often within the film. His hands look great. So fully sculpted, and they flow well with the mixed media. A little bit different tinge on the purple here, but you can see here like the creases in the gloves and the seam lines look absolutely great. So on the back, the thumb that's actually used is a separate piece, but it keys in right where this seam is, so you can't even tell. I assume that was for shipping purposes. So the gloves look absolutely fantastic. Let's look at the hair. So it is rooted in, real hair, some white paint kind of mixed up in there, which follows the movie. Clearly, you can style the hair however you want. So while it's a little off on this, I can't degrade any points from that. But I like how you see his brown, so it's kind of like a sloppy tinted job. Now it's appearing a lot brighter green in these lights and on my camera than it does in real life. It's much darker in real life. Now looking at his paint here, one thing I don't like is it's too clean. I almost feel like it was spattered, and you know, different scenes in the movie, it was spattered different areas, but it's a little bit too clean. I wish they would have done more speckling where it meets his neck and his hairline up here. But it's pretty clean, which, you know, collectors might want that. I'm not sure. But this is all silicone, every single part of it. And when you look at that, first let me talk about the paint a little bit more. So I like how you can still see his Caucasian color underneath it. Very accurate to the movie. So it looks great other than that speckling aspect I was talking about. The scars, they did a really nice job on these, using a really dark red color with some black mixed in there to really bring it out and make them look like real fresh scars, just like they were in the movie. And then his lips kind of follow that same color scheme. Then the wrinkles throughout his face, whether it's from the scars or the forehead up here, look really good, very realistic in the silicone. And the black in the eyes, I know I was talking to a Batman statue collector because he's really anticipating this piece, and he's happy that they didn't go too light on the black, if that makes sense. So I think it's really nice. You know, this kind of encompasses to me, you know, right after he put on the makeup, because it's so clean. Now, while we talked about, I'm not a fan of the expression. I mean, it looks good, just doesn't fit the statue. I think that the likeness is not 100% there, but probably as close as you can get it. I would say this does have better likeness than my Queen, looking at it now, so they did an amazing job with that sculpt. So overall, very impressive, literally and figuratively, from top to bottom. Sculpt, let's start with that. Obviously, the base looks fantastic. His portrait, like I said, the likeness is really there. And what I really like is you see it from almost every angle. So I think it's a 5 out of 5 on the sculpt. I think they did a fantastic job. Now the paint, and I'm going to kind of include the mixed media with the paint. Like I said, it's pretty impressive. And while I would have liked to see the speckling a little bit different, I still think it's a 5 out of 5 on the paint as well. They knocked it out of the park. Really well done, Infinity Studios. So these pieces are very expensive. Life-size busts in general are expensive. Then you add the fact that they use medical grade silicone, so it looks and feels like real skin. Then you add the fact it's not really a bust like we talked about, it's half a body. So typically, life-size busts are $1,000 to $2,000. Silicone is usually about $2,000 to $3,500. And then when you add half the body, this guy retails for right around $4,000. Now, one reason I love buying from Comic Concepts is they're always cheaper. They have the cheapest shipping options. They are located in the States, and their customer service is second to none. And I know they have low quantity on these, but make sure to check the link in the description below. It's not an affiliate link. I get nothing on it. I just copy and pasted it from a browser. Make sure to jump on this really quick because they also give you points like Sideshow and all the other competitors. Because I can tell you, they only made 500 of these. And while 4,000 or 3,900 as Comic Concepts has it is really expensive, look what you get. Now the life-size Joker, I think from Queen Studios, is like $11,000. So all you're getting additionally is leg. You're paying $7,000 for leg. So I think in the scheme of things, even with the competition that's out there, there's no competition with the arms and the cool, awesome base here. I think that the value is a 4 out of 5. I bet this will go for more on the aftermarket, so now is the time to buy. Now, does this have the X factor? And I think a good question with that is it better than the Queen Studios one I have? I didn't think so. I think the Queen Studios one I have is absolutely fabulous, and I didn't put it on the table because it looks so small next to this. But now that I have this in hand, I think this is better than the Queen Studios one. Now, with that being said, it's still not for me because I just don't like arms and the whole body. It's kind of freaking me out, but I think that's one thing that makes this look so cool. And that's what gives this the X factor. That's why this is a 5 out of 5 statue. I am really impressed. Let me know what you guys think. Is this 5 out of 5? Throw that down in the comments below. I read every single comment, and you could win a statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thank you so much to Comic Concepts. Again, guys, go on their website. Not only check out this piece, but tons of other pieces from Prime One and XM Studios and Infinity. Great retailer. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone watching. Please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. It's easy and free. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.